Whether you're a trail runner, ultra runner, road runner, or triathlete, entering your local running festivals can be one of the best ways to stay accountable to your training, chase a PR, or just get used to racing in a proper event setting. And whether you're lining up for a 5K, 10K, half or full marathon, there are definitely a few things you can get right or wrong on race day. Today, we're at the Lake Mac Running Festival, and luckily we've got our in-house elite runner Vlad, who's podiumed here for the last 10 years in a row. He's going to share his best tips for how to approach race day like a pro, no matter what distance you're tackling. So Vlad, what are some of the most important things for people to understand or get right on race day?
Pacing is definitely something that you want to get as comfortable as you can with. Race day has some other factors which you're potentially not used to. Race day nerves, feeling a little bit stressed, feeling a little bit overwhelmed. What happens more often than not is that you hear that start gun go and you take off like really quick and significantly faster than you've kind of trained for, and that can really come back to bite you in the latter stages of a race. You know, you want it to be at a pace which is evenly sustainable. So you really want to be controlled, even, and use the data and tools that are around you to help you do that. You know, GPS watches these days are great. You've got auto pacing, auto lap on there. And so come race day, you just can't set yourself an unrealistic pace and be going for that and your heart rate's going through the roof. It's just not going to be sustainable. I think that one of the most important things to get right on race day is your fueling. How much fuel you need to take would depend on how fast you're running, but also how far you're running. Once you start going for over an hour, you definitely need to pay more attention to fueling regularly, like even the elite marathon runners.
Yeah, and you speak about the elites. I mean, I know the elites at the moment, high carb is very popular. People taking in, in excess of 100, 120 grams of carbs per hour. How much does the intensity of your running determine what kind of carb level you should be hitting?
So in general, the higher the intensity, the higher the amount of carbs that you will need to take in to be able to sustain that. The other thing you need to consider is that you can't be doing it for the first time on race day. Everyone's starting to talk about, gut training. It is a thing. You need to be able to learn how to process nutrition as you're moving at a high intensity. And obviously the faster you're running, the more you're going to have to take in. So it becomes even more important to be paying attention to that rather than taking that 100 grams of carbs for the first time on race day.
How far in advance of the race should you start, thinking about carb loading?
Carb loading is one of those things. The phrase has been around for many, many years. It's effective for some people and not effective for everyone. But what I do know is it's hard to get exactly right. And my best advice would be 3 to 4 days before the event, you should be consciously having a slightly higher carb intake than you normally would, and also taking on foods that aren't making you feel like super bloated and super heavy.
What about on race day specifically? Do you have a meal before racing?
So race morning, I like to keep it super simple, and pretty much all of the professional runners that I know do exactly the same thing. They're all got a routine. For me, even if it's a 50K, 100K race marathon, I still have a really simple breakfast 2 to 3 hours before the race, more like 3 hours. Something easy digestible like toast with a spread that I like, and maybe a coffee as well. I like to sip on like a carbohydrate electrolyte mix in the hour leading up to an event, and then I generally take a gel about 15 minutes before the event.
So we've talked about fueling pre-race. What about warm-up?
It's really important. For me, it would involve usually a 5 to 15 minute run, just running easy, potentially getting faster towards the end. And then I definitely get into some running drills and stretches. So these are dynamic stretches, like I do a 3-way leg stretch, I might do some bounding strides, A skip, B skip marches and that type of thing. And I also do some run-throughs, so where I kind of get my heart rate up. Really trying to make sure that we are getting blood to the working muscles. Your body's going to be completely woken up. So most races are in the morning. It's going to make sure that you don't get that runner's shock if you hadn't warmed up and you went out fast. Your heart rate's going to spike higher than what it would if you warmed up well.
But I know there's going to be people watching this who are thinking, mate, I'm signing up to do 21.1 kilometers. You're telling me I need to do another 3 kilometers on top of that before we even start?
Yeah, that's right. So I guess you just need to get comfortable with the fact and trust your training to know that running for 5, 10 or 15 minutes is actually going to be so much more beneficial for you. You just need to get your body prepared to run hard.
So talk to me about mentally how you attack these races, and I guess specifically, when you are in the middle of the race and it starts to get hard, what do you do, or how do you convince yourself to keep going?
Every race is going to get difficult, especially if you're kind of targeting something which is like a goal for you. When the race starts getting tough, and it's usually around the halfway point, if you start drifting too much and thinking about how far you've got left to run still, then you can feel even worse than how you actually feel. So my advice would be to bring it right back in terms of just focusing on mini goals. A simple way to do that is to focus on 1 kilometre at a time. And on the weekend, I was doing exactly that. Rather than think about the fact that I had another 7 kilometres or a third of the race still to go, I literally was just focusing on seeing how close I could get my target pace for that one particular kilometre. And then after I did that, I'd then focus on the next one. It's so much more digestible and achievable than if you're kind of burdening yourself with the fact that you've still got a third of the race to go. Your feet are hurting, your muscles are burning, your lungs are burning, you're sweating, it's hot, it's cold, or whatever. Remove all of those factors by bringing your focus back to being present at that point in time, and then focusing on small, manageable chunks.
So what about after the race?
Obviously, you're going to get to the end, your friends potentially going to be there, family, and that's a big part of it. You want to share that moment with your loved ones, with people that are important to you. And look, you've probably achieved something that you're very proud of. I try, and I do most races, hydrate pretty quickly and go for a cool down jog. Race massage if it's available, even if it's only 2 minutes, like any kind of movement and rub down of the muscles definitely seems to help with recovery.
I mean, again, Vlad, I think, you're saying, someone who's just run 21.5 kilometers and you're saying, hey, you're not done, go for another 8-minute jog. Just help me understand why that's important.
Yeah, I definitely feel that it's really important to move after a hard effort, just like you would after an interval session, because it helps to clear that lactate and bring your body in a more controlled way back down to its resting state.
Thanks, Vlad. That was really interesting, and I hope that was really interesting to all of you as well. As usual, subscribe. It really helps the channel if you've enjoyed this content, and drop a comment below if you've got any questions to do with running. But keep up your training, and we'll see you next time.